Hello students, today we will discuss our next topic, that is language as a tool of communication. Language is a tool of communication. It's a well-known or established fact that effective communication is made possible with the help of language. You do not have to be a linguist in order to acquire good communication skill, but however, a basic knowledge of the theory of language will certainly help you to understand the intricacies of writing and speaking clearly. So let us look at some of the basic features of language. So whenever we try to define language, the first thing that comes in our mind, that is words. Yes. So language employs a combination of words. A combination of words to communicate ideas in a meaningful way. So, by changing the word order in a sentence, you can change its meaning and even make it meaningless. Yes. So, when we define a language, we just get the imagination that there are words, and we employ those words and we combine those words to make sentences, and we fill meaning in those sentences. See, how did word acquire their meaning? What, for example, is the relation or connection between, for example, what is the relation between, relation or correlation between a wooden plank balanced on four legs and the word table? And the word table. The answer is that there is no correlation between the symbol and its meaning. There is no relation between this word and a wooden plank balanced on four legs. So, because language is arbitrary, because language is arbitrary means there is no relation between the symbol and the meaning it is given. So, when language first came into being, a community of people agreed to represent a certain object or idea by certain symbols or by certain signs. So, in the very first words, there may have been some correlation between the symbol and the sense. They may have been onomatopoeic. A few such words still persist in the English language, which are, we can have some examples, sounding words which were being used by the people in past, like sounding words: buzz, drizzle, murmur. So initially there were the words which were sounding words, onomatopoeic words, and there were the use of symbols. Okay, in fact, most words evoke certain meanings because people have agreed that the symbols or the words represent specific meanings. Thus, language is directly dependent on people and cannot exist in isolation. So, we can say that language is dependent on people, cannot exist in isolation. So, it arose out of the human need to communicate. It arose out of the human need to communicate. So, primitive man communicated only with sign language and cries. Much later, as human beings became more interdependent and complex, language came into being. Of course, though it is accepted that language is universal, it cannot be defined that it is also specific to individuals. When you use it, you reflect your personality and thought. Yes, so we are discussing here that though language is accepted as universal, it cannot be defined that it is, and it is also specific to individual. It varies region to region, state to state, nation to nation. Okay, so on the basis of all these characteristics, we can say that there are certain characteristics of language. So here we are discussing the characteristics of language or the common features of language which we must know. Do you know how the meaning of nice has changed over hundreds of years? Today nice is used to describe something as good in an abstract way. Its Latin root nasar means to be ignorant, and in 13th century English it came to mean foolish or stupid. Yes. So over the years there are lots of changes upon the words. The words have lost their meaning, they just developed new meanings. So we just taking one example of the word nice generally means good. Yes. So today nice is used to show something very good or good in such abstract way. Its Latin root nasire means means to be ignorant, and in 13th century, in 13th century English, it it came to mean foolish or stupid. So let us now consider how language operates when you think of any event. Yes, innumerable images came to your mind. For instance, when you think of your first oral presentation, you may recall the audience's expressions, etc. We all have such images in our minds, and we shape our ideas and influences our thoughts and actions. People use language to give shape to their experience. Since language is not exact, many a time it leads to misunderstanding. Being aware of the topic or being aware of the basic characteristics of language can help us understand better than communicate effectively. So, according to the ideas put forward by some specialists, language has certain characteristic features like artificial. Language is artificial because it is not natural, it is made by human beings, it is restricted, it is arbitrary. As we have understood already that language is arbitrary means there is no relation between the word and its meaning. Arbitrary. Language is creative. It is abstract. Redundant. Recursive. So first we will come to understand this word. Language is artificial because it is made by men. So language is artificial. Its first characteristic feature is that it is language is artificial. So why we say that it is artificial? Because language is created by people. Number two, it does not exist in isolation. Or outside the minds of people. It is created by human beings as they need it. Every symbol is attached to a particular thought or thing. Called a referent. So, language is created by people. It does not exist in isolation or outside the minds of people. It is created by human beings as they need it. And every symbol is attached to a particular thought or thing called a referent. So, irrespective of the etymology, more important is the fact that we select a word for use in a particular way from the limitless choice available. So, at notice before there is no organic connection between a symbol and its meaning. It is arbitrary. Also, the people attach meanings to words as they need. We attach meanings to words as we need them. Okay, so therefore we say that language is artificial. Another characteristic of language is that language is abstract. Language is abstract means we say language is abstract because it represents generalized ideas of things and thoughts, very common words, which can give lots of meanings at a time. So, the idea which is represented by a word is every time different. The idea So the idea which is represented by a word is every time different. For example, the word dress can represent anything from a suit to uniform. Even if you are more specific and use the word business suit, if you are using the specific word business suit, you are still employing an abstraction, as a business suit can come in a variety of sizes and colors. So this word has a variety, and even if you are using a specific term business suit, it has a variety of colors and sizes. So to be abstract is to generalize, and to generalize is to leave out many details. To be abstract means to generalize, and to generalize means leaving um, out many details outside. So it makes all generalization possible. When we talk about a number of similar items such as paper clips, pins, staples, etc., we can group them through abstraction, leveling their common features. We can say stationery. So how does this happen? An existing word takes many similar ideas under its umbrella. A table can be of different shapes and sizes and colors and still be called a table. This happens because meanings get associated with symbols and users keep expanding the range of meaning. So, this happens because this happens because what we do, meanings get associated with symbols and users keep expanding the range of meanings. So here we can say that language as abstract means it has very common words, very generalized terms, and which give a variety of meaning at a time. Like we have given one example of dress, that you can see a variety of dresses from a frock to suit. Yes, and if you are even if you are using a specific term, a business suit, it can also be seen in lots of forms. So we can say that we just relate the words with their meanings, and we generate the meanings as per the need. So why because there are lots there is a word table, and that you can see that there are lots of sizes and colors and variety in this word. So we just associate the meaning to these words. And the feature of language is that language is restricted. Language is restricted. Restricted is a term which itself tells its meaning that there is a restriction upon the words in language. When we think and translate thoughts into language, some meanings are lost into the process. Most of the times, it happens with us that we think a lot of messages, we get lots of messages in mind. When we just transform those ideas and messages to other people, we think that there is something missing. Why it happens? Because there is a restriction. Only words are unable to express the whole idea, whatever we have in our mind. So there is a need of some other language which completes your message, which makes your communication impressive and effective. So that's why we say that language is restricted. We have limited number of words, and to we use those words to make sentences. But even these sentences need something more to make them effective and impressive, to give the real meaning. So no symbol, no word can transmit exact reality. That is the reason you sometimes find yourself saying that you cannot find words to express your feelings. Think of your alma mater. Alma mater. When you were in your school, the building was new and modern. You call it your school. Okay, you still call it your school. Are not the same words. You know, when being used to describe the same building in its different states. To overcome this limited quality of words language, people enliven their communication with non-verbal cues to explain things better. So here we are discussing about restriction. Language is restricted. Why? Because when we think and translate our thoughts into language, some meanings are lost in the process. So, no symbol or word can transmit exact reality. So, that is the reason you sometimes find yourself so no symbol or word can transmit exact reality. That is the reason you find yourself saying that you cannot find words to express your feelings. That's why we say, and what we do to come over this problem, we just use non-verbal cues. So, to overcome this limiting quality, people enliven their communication with nonverbal cues to explain things better. So, nonverbal cues is your body language, your facial expressions, paralanguage means your tone, pitch, voice, pause, etc. So, all these things are very much helpful while giving a perfect, complete, and impressive meaning. So, only words are unable to give a complete meaning. That's why we people use our gestures and postures and paralinguistic features to give urgency to the voice, to make your message complete, to fill emotions in your speech. And the feature is language is arbitrary. Language is arbitrary means there is no direct relation between a word and the idea it represents. So people speaking a particular language accept the fact that certain symbols and sounds will represent a particular thing. For example, a table could have been called by any other name, but the people speaking English accepted that a piece of furniture with four legs and a wooden plank used for keeping things would be called a table. So we can say there is no direct relation. So people speaking a particular language accept the fact that certain symbols or sounds will represent a particular thing. For example, a table. Table on which we put something. So what is this? It's a piece of furniture with and a wooden plank used for keeping things would be called a table. Nobody knows that why we say a table, we can give any word to it. Okay, so sometimes this arbitrary aspect of language causes a problem. This feature of language causes a problem too. Problem or problems. So when a word undergoes a change that may not be universally accepted, it might not be understood clearly. So for example, the word verbal. The word verbal has lots of meanings like it means spoken, not written, and also connected with words or without words, with words or using words. Or using words. So the same word is used to represent two different realities. So that's why we say that language is arbitrary. Arbitrary means there is no exact relation with the word and its meaning. We can give any meaning according to our need, as we have understood before. Its another feature is that language is creative. Language is creative. Creative means we can create any number of words as per our need. Language is indeed very creative, and you can marvel at its ability to create or generate so many words every day. Every year, innumerable words are added to the dictionary. These words can be added by different processes. Like we can form the words by using prefixes, suffixes, compounding, blending, conversion, etc. So these are the methods through which we generate lots of words. We create lots of words. Prefixes, we can simply take a example, admission. This is a prefix. And this SION is a suffix. Compounding means we just attach two root words like homework. Root words. Both have their separate identity. Yes. Blending. Smog. This is a example of the blending word like smog, fog, and so this is the example of blending method of word formation or creativity. This smoke and fog makes a word smog. Okay, in the same way, conversion means when a single word gives two meanings like text. Text is a verb and at the same time it works as a noun. Like I can say text this message. This is a verb. And I will say give me your text. It will be the noun. So there are lots of methods to create innumerable words. So language is creative means we can create any number of words. As per another feature of language is that it is repetitive. Language is repetitive. Whatever language you use, it has the capacity for redundancy and repetition. This quality of language may either improve or impede effective communication. For example, see this example. See this sentence. A couple of girls are riding their bicycles. How many words in it indicate the presence of more than one person? A couple of girls are riding their bicycles. So the first two are the plural nouns. The first two are the plural nouns like girls and bicycles. Girls, girls and bicycles. The third is agreement of the verb, are riding. Agreement of the word. Agreement of the verbs with the subject. The fourth and fifth are couple and their. Couple and their. So we can accept that in this instance, in this example, repetition of information makes the meaning clear. On the other hand, excessive and unnecessary repetition or redundancy may lead to verbosity. Verbosity means excess of words or wordiness without contributing to the meaning. For example, you can say, all of you meet together to see me in the afternoon. So here in this example, you can see that all of you meet together to see me in the afternoon at 3 p.m. You are using an excessive number of words for no purpose. For example, you can see here, even if you will leave out all of you and afternoon, no confusion would arise. So when redundancy is a problem, dispense with the words that is unnecessary. So a couple of girls are riding by their bicycles. This is the repetition of the words or the same rule just to bring clarity. But when you repeat the words, when you repeat the things which are giving the same meaning at the same time, this will create verbosity. Verbosity means excess of words for no extra meaning. So this is just redundancy of the words which is creating confusion. Another feature and the last feature of language is that language is recursive. Language is recursive. Recursive means reoccurrence of the words or something. So its recursiveness enables you to generate any number of sentences using the same grammatical templates or grammatical patterns. It allows you to express any idea, any thought or feeling using the same finite vocabulary. Recursiveness implies that there is no limit to the potential length of a sentence. For example, consider the following sentence. See this example. This man who is wearing a crumpled suit which he borrowed from me to wear to his interview, which was on Wednesday, which was a day it was raining. So see this example. This man who is wearing a crumpled suit which he borrowed from me to wear to his interview, which was on Wednesday, which was the day it was raining. So here you can see that we are using here the same grammatical template to make this sentence any longer. So we in this way we can add any number of ideas in the same sentence, and we can add any number of messages in the same sentence and we are using the same grammatical pattern here. So this is known as recursiveness. So if you use your imagination to lengthen this language any longer, you can do the same. You can see that the sentence can continue to any length if you keep on adding qualifying clauses for every noun. This is because the recursive characteristic of language here enables you to keep repeating the relative clause pattern. Okay, students, so it's very clear that language is having its 7 features. It is recursive, redundant, repetitive, restricted, artificial, and creative. So by using these type of characteristics of language, you can entertain or you can enrich your vocabulary